I'm here. How are we? Who are we? Who have we got? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Well, not me. Can you see my hand? No. Are we streaming? We appear to be streaming. I can see myself. And there's Mick. Hello, Mick. How you doing? How are we doing? What's on your table tonight? Anything good? You finishing off your Stormcast tonight by any chance? But you are? Coffee and painkillers, yeah. Classic combo. Coffee. Right. So, what we're going to do tonight, or what I'm going to do tonight, what you do is up to you, is I'm going to demo very quickly, hopefully very quickly, kind of a Flecktarn camo scheme, which now I see on camera looks really, really basic, but it looks really effective from a distance, which is kind of what I'm all about. So that's really easy. And then I am going to be demoing, because I've got hold of quite legitimately, as in off Amazon. So I pay cash money for these things. I don't get sponsored by anyone. AP speed paint range, because I know a few people have been looking at these, myself included, and thinking, are they any good? So I'm going to give them a go. I've had a bit of a go with them so far, and they're alright. But I'll be giving them a try live on camera, and we'll be able to see what a mess I'm able to make of some innocent plastic, which is kind of my thing. Doing unspeakable things to innocent plastic. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so this dude. Where do I start when I'm designing camouflage? Well, I start with the base. What basing material am I going to use? Now for this one, for all my Eldar in fact, I've been using, I think it's Geek Gaming Scenics. Yeah, Geek Gaming Scenics base ready mix. Ignore the Element Essentials pot. It doesn't come in a useful pot, so I've got a useful pot from Element Essentials to use for it. So that's what it is. It is gravel and sand and other bits and bobs in there, and that's what it looks like. So when you're picking a colour scheme for camouflage that's supposed to fit the environment, it's best to have an idea of what the environment looks like, and that's our environment. And then it's a process of going through your paints, and you probably don't want more than about 4 colours tops for a camouflage scheme. It's a case of going through your colours and seeing, is that colour present in the setting, and if so, how much? I mean, yes, there's a little bit of this just there, but probably not enough to actually include that in the camo. But I've done all that process before. I've got my 4 colours. So I've got myself some ash grey, which is definitely in there. Loads of that with the stones and what have you. Some army green, which is more or less the same as the as bits in there as well. Certainly doesn't look out of place next to it. Some oak brown, which isn't really in there, but it adds, oh there they are, some warm notes. There we are, that's more or less it. And what surprised me is this stuff, which is also in there in places. It's probably a bit easier to see in real life than under the camera, but trust me, it's there. It's there. And you can see all those elements on the camo cloak. Hi, Wolf Corgi, how we doing? So, I have been painting, very basically, some Eldar Rangers. These are the new Eldar Rangers. So new, they've been out for a few weeks now, so they're practically old. They're about ready for a range refresh, I reckon. So I've been painting them very basically, and this is just with contrast paints. I think that's Creed camo or something on the back. I hate that as a colour, it's very mottled, and I don't do, but it works for camo. Or at least it doesn't not work for camo. But that's our base. So let's pick one that's got a nice coat that's going to work well with this. Where are my glasses? There are my glasses. Okay. Okay, right. What other bits do I need? I need Old Faithful. That is a little sponge, a bit of ripped up sponge that you might use for washing up or something like that if you do that kind of thing. If you don't have a fancy machine that does it. So that's basically that. Just rip up a bit of washing up sponge, and we're going to stipple with it. So let's pick a mini. Probably not that one. Yeah, that one's got a lot of cloak. Right, okay, so we're going to start with the deepest tone. It's probably our oak brown, which is right. Army paints have a tendency to settle, so I'm just going to give this a quick whiz on the vortex mixer. Which I do recommend getting. You can pick them up off Amazon for anything from about 30 quid up. I'll just unplug it and show you what they look like. One of them. And they're used for, tattooists use them for mixing inks. And they're also used in labs for shaking up test tubes and things like that. You can get up to lab quality for hundreds of quids, and I think Artist Opus does one for 70 bajillion quid, but you don't need that. One of the 30-40 quid ones will do you quite fine for mixing up paints, and they do a fair job. And I've just put my brown paint down somewhere. Oh, there it is. Hiya Jamie, how are we doing? What's on your table? There we go. Well, it's better than it normally is. So that's our oak brown. Ash grey. Come on, ash grey. Come on, you can do it. Don't shake that around with the lid off. That's a stupid thing to do. Yeah, I added ball bearings to the bottles. That is a thing that is a good idea to do with Army Painter paints, because they do come a bit thick. Terrain! What terrain are you doing? Or is it a secret? Paint noisily? Yeah, waiting for the kids to go to sleep is usually a good idea. Otherwise they come in and bug you, I dare say. Oh, not COVID. Right, okay, now a quick squiz of what's this? Dandelion and burdock. That! It's excited. I did that. I still got coffee next to me. Oh well, mix it up. Right, so we've got our 4 colours there. Like I say, probably don't need too many more than that, otherwise it does get a bit busy. Found the trick is with camouflage is not to make things look too regular, which can be a little bit on the difficult side because that's not how our brains work. So what I'm doing is I dip that in the paint and I dab off most of the paint, leaving some on there, and I very lightly spot that on. This is actually a technique which works well for weathering and adding chipping and rust to tanks and such. So we're just adding spots of colour here and there. And this is one of these things where it'll come together in the end. It'll look a little bit rubbish to start out with, but it will come together. So we just spot that around like that. A little bit on the edge. That's a helmet, so I won't do that. We're going to be painting around over the details anyway, so I don't need to worry too much about going over things like pouches and what have you. That's more of me experimenting with. Yeah, a few of these bits were done with speed paints, so more experimenting with them than anything else. Okay. And for the tough to reach areas you can resort to a brush, but it's good to have a brush that's a little bit chewed like that. That's never coming to a point ever again, but you can use that much the same as your stippling sponge and get into all those crooks and nannies. Just spot them on randomly, and where you lacked a bit of coverage there, you can just chuck one down there and just add a little bit of a few spots of colour. And it's starting to look like mud, which is good. It's best to start with the darkest first, I find. But now we've done the darkest, we can move up one, just get the remainder of that paint off your sponge, or get a fresh sponge. I don't know where my sponge is. I can't tear any more off that, so I have to make do with this. And then repeat the process with the next colour. My beard, don't need that. Again, just spot it on. Randomly as you can. This does scale up to vehicles and look okay, but I wouldn't use it on anything tank scale. Reason being it doesn't look quite right for on tanks. I mean that's jet bike done with the flectine skin. It looks okay. I wouldn't go much bigger than that. Otherwise it does start to look a bit odd. And just building up little spots of colour here and there. To that, we probably need a bit more finesse, so we'll use the brush. See what I'm doing. can see what I'm doing. I can barely see what I'm doing, so you've got no hope. Contrast paints, yeah. The speed paints. Well, yeah, I'll get onto them in a minute. Actually, I'm finding them okay. Not much more than okay, but okay, they're all right. They have their uses, which is what I'll say. I'm still playing around with them at this stage, so I don't know the limits of what they can and can't do. But they're all right. So, this is a surprising one, and you probably want to give it a sparing with this. Try and match the frequency of the camo of the splodges to how often it appears in the in your tray of basing material. So this doesn't appear that often, but what it does do is it breaks up the outline a bit and draws the eye around and confuses things. Right. There we are. And it's starting to look spot on already. We're not going to be too eager with that. Maybe get another splodge in there, yeah. And then we're on to the last bit, which is the grey, which is another one you're going to be quite sparing about. Just turn the sponge, make sure you try and randomise that pattern as much as you can. This is just gentle dabbing, you're not pushing down or anything like that, I'm just sort of... So there's notes of Flectarn about this scheme, and there's notes of Digicam as well, which is kind of cool. You can almost use this light colour for a bit of highlighting as well. Just drag it along the edge there, so you just define the edge a little bit, which is precisely what the point of camouflage is not. And there we go. And that's basically that. Obviously you can go over where things look a bit over enthusiastic, like that grey just there. You can maybe go over with a bit of green, just soften it back down a bit, wait for it to dry if you can, because otherwise the paint will mix and you'll get a different colour. That's to dry a little bit, and if we compare that with our this is called Scrubland or something. Compare that with that. I mean, it's not probably a little bit more green than that is, so we could probably afford to go over that a bit more. But it's not too far off. It certainly doesn't stand out against that, which is the idea. In fact, if we get some of my brown liquid, I dare say we can dull that down a bit. So this is my brown liquid. This is equal parts Agrax Earthshade, Seraphim Sepia, with a half measure of Lamia Medium and some Drakenhof Nightshade to add a little bit of cool to it. Drakenhof Nightshade. Nice big brush. No, we don't need a nice big brush, we need a nice sort of medium sized brush. A little bit of water first to stop the paint getting up into ferrules. Washes like contrast paints and metallics and all sorts of stuff have a tendency to run up into the metal and dry and do all kinds of claggy and horrible. Right, so just into the recesses with these. And it creates another extra level of colour and shade. How are we enjoying the new music, by the way? Just trying to mix it up a bit. This is again royalty free from YouTube. A band called Unicorn Heads, I think. And they're really rather good. Very chilled. Well, the children are doing this stuff anyway. Let's get that in there as well. Might as well, seeing as we're here. Get the colour. Now, I'm being a little bit careful here because this gun was painted with speed paints. And speed paints have a little bit of a tendency to reactivate, which is not entirely what you want. It can be a useful thing. Particularly if you're trying to blend, but you know, if you're not expecting it, you can end up wiping all the paint off your miniature if you're not careful. So it is something of which to be aware, and they don't actually let you know in the bump of the Army Painter range that the paints have a tendency to do this. Until you point it out to them, at which point they say, well yes, that's because of this chemical. So what they want you to do is, once you've applied your speed paint, you put a layer of matte varnish, or a varnish, over the top. Doing anything, but yeah, it's something of which to be aware rather than to actually put you off buying the product. There we go. See how that's dulled that down nicely, sort of, and you can add weathering on top of this as well. But, there we go. Really nice. Above all, easy, blotchy camo, because camo can be an absolute pain to paint. That's not too threatening for beginners, I don't think, because it's just a little bit of sponge, a little bit of dabbing paint here and there. There's no technical finesse to it or anything like that. And you can just build up the various spots of colour until it looks more or less right. From a distance, it looks brilliant. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy's helmet though. I think I am going to leave that green. armour is white. Oh, Biltan. Some of you have green armour and white helmets. Some of you have white armour and green helmets. Oh, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. Anyway, that's that guy. I'll finish him off later. This thing. What is this thing? We don't know. We don't know what this thing is. It is a thing. We presume it's either the gloom shroud or something, or it's some weird biowire mine thing that shoots out chemical tendrils everywhere that rip things apart. But it's not explained, because there's another variant of this which has different. Let me see if I've still got the screw to handle it out. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. There with. Anyway, there's the other variant. It's got kind of different veins on it, but it's not explained anywhere what either of these things are, if they're different. Yeah, Wolf Corgi. Varnishing. Yeah. One thing I will say about varnishing with the speed paints is I would recommend getting a spray varnish rather than going in with the brush. I will not try it. In fact, I will try that whilst we're testing these out. That'd be a good thing to do, wouldn't it? That would be a good thing to do. Yeah, I'm a little bit wary of brushing on camo with the brushing on varnish, sorry, with the speed paint, for fear of the paint reactivating. But we'll give that a go, seeing as I've got some varnish here somewhere. Oh no, that's airbrush flow improver. That'll definitely reactivate it. There's some matte varnish. Now this stuff's good through an airbrush or out of the brush. This is Viejo, and I think you can get bigger pots of this. So let's find. Right. Let's give that brush a good clean. Right. And a little spot of this out onto the thingy. And here is, now this is painted with entirely with the Army Painter paints out of the starter pot paint set. So let's see what happens if we brush varnish onto the miniature. And there's a little bit of reactivation, but it's workable. And you can see I mean, that's reactivating, but I think you could possibly use that. Ah, no, because it bleeds into the brush and then you end up with it everywhere. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Get a spray varnish if you can. I use plastic coat, I think it is, which is pretty good. Plastic coat or clear coat? Clear coat, yeah. Get a spray varnish. Doesn't need to be an expensive miniature specific one. But a light coat of that is enough to stop the paint reactivating. Just grab a tissue and clean up the palette. I say clean up. Clean up to a given value of clean, i.e. not at all. Right, okay. So that was camo. And like I say, it works on small vehicles as well, but I really wouldn't want to take that up any further than that really. I wouldn't want to take that up to 10 scale because it would look kind of wrong. I think it's, yeah, the German army wear flecked on, so if you have a look at their vehicles, they don't use flecked on the vehicles, which I think is probably the right call. It looks a bit odd. Right, speed paints. Right, here we go. Let's get that out of the way, just clear the decks a bit. Speed paints, I'm going to use these to put speed paints in. For the reason I will explain. Just a quick look to see the state of my. Yeah. See, I've got a wet palette under there, which would seem to be the ideal place to put them, but don't, because the pigment in the speed paints will bleed through the parchment that you use to cover up the wet palette. So when you peel that parchment away to replace it, you've still got the colour in the spongy blotting paper underneath, which is no good because it will seep back through and taint the paint that you put on top of it. So don't do that. That is the take home here. That is the most important thing. If you use a wet palette, do not put these on your wet palette. Right, so what have we got? We've got a blood red. Put a blood red there. That's our blood red. Fire orange. And when they come out of the pots, they look nothing like what they look like when they go on the miniature. Zealot yellow, which is especially good at bleeding through other colours. So that is something of which to be aware. Crusader skin. Which looks way too dark, but isn't. Pallid bone, which I am a fan of which I am a fan. Yes, of which I am a fan. Yeah, apologies for these all being out of focus, but I find manual focus works much better when you're actually painting things up close, because I find with autofocus it tends to focus on what's going on behind and not the miniature, which is what you want people to be looking at, usually. Nice. Out of the box, when you first get these will need a hell of a shake. I don't know how long it takes for them to settle before they need shaking again, but that is another thing of which to be aware. Gravelord Grey, there's no black in the starter set. This is as close as you're getting, and it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Gravelord Grey. Hive Dweller Purple, which I've not used yet, but I'm about to. Oh God, this is going to make a miniature look gaudy as heck. Highwall Blue. Looks like it might be quite deep blue. I've not used that before either. Well, I can see that's blue anyway. And let's get a bit of green in there as well. This is Orc Skin, which is absolutely terrifying. I will show you what this looks like. I had a miniature that I had prepped with Orc Skin to show you how terrifying this orc skin is. And I have put him down somewhere. There he is. Here we go. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I like orcs a bit darker than that, and a bit more sort of realistic looking. But that's proper. That's proper. But that's one coat of the orc flesh. So if you like your orcs looking like that, they're not a bad product. So yeah, well, we've got brown, pallid bone, crusader skin, zealot, yellow, orange, red, grey, purple, blue, green. Get all these out of the way. And then we will reach for our test miniatures, because Army Painter recommend a matte white undercoat, or, and this is the crazy thing, necrotic flesh, or demonic yellow. Now they recommend a flat undercoat of these things because they sell them in spray cans. I don't have the spray cans, but I do have the pots of demonic yellow. Demonic yellow. That's that on top of there. But they're the colour match between their spray range and the bottle paints is actually pretty good. So I've gone with the Zenithal of the bottled range. It should produce some good results. So we'll start out with the white first. And these are just Chaos Cultists, so I have plans for my Chaos Cultists, and it won't involve these miniatures, so I'm not ruining anything by doing this. What I have ruined is my chance of finding the brush I was going to use. Whittle. There it is. Because the starter paint set comes with 2 brushes, and I've found them to be pretty good. Give them a quick dip in the water. Dip in water. Get them wet. Like in a northerner coming out. And again, that's going to stop most of the paint coming up into the ferrules and making a mess of them. So that's another take home. Right, we'll start with the big brush because more about the big brushes. So what are we going to do here? I don't really care what we do here, so let's go in with a red. This is just one coat, straight over white. This is obviously straight out of the bottle. I've not diluted these or anything. They do sell a medium that comes with that to go with the speed paint range, but I don't have any because that's in the mega paint set, and the individual bottles aren't released as yet. TLDR, I haven't got any. Bad. Certainly on a par with contrast, I would have said, but it flows differently to contrast. It's a bit more controllable and doesn't yeah, you don't get that coffee stain effect as badly because it doesn't pool as badly. It's a bit thicker, like all the Army Painter paints, actually a little bit thicker, and that actually helps. So there's your red. Pretty cool. A bit of a wash. Dab, dab, dab. orange I've not used before. I reckon I'll put some orange. Why not? Let's put some on his mask. Oh, now that's a nice orange. Ooh, now that's a nice orange. I reckon that'll look, again I've not got any so I can't prove this, but I reckon that'll look awesome on some Fire Slayer hair. You've got a little bit of pool in there, but you know, just get some dab off your brush and just get your brush in there. Just what this stuff doesn't do as readily as contrast paint, which is a good thing, is tear. Contrast paint, if you go over it more than once before it's completely dry, will tear. This stuff doesn't as much. I can go over, just demonstrate the point. And I think this might be partially down to the reactivation properties of the paint, so that might be a good thing and why they did it. If I were to go straight back over that, that's still wet-ish, tacky. If I were to do that with contrast paint, I would have torn the base layer. And you can see that is not hammed. That's just taken the other, it's just taken the next layer really easily. And I think that might be the result of that reactivation property of the paint. So that's cool. There's got a bit of yellow going on. I can put some yellow on this thing. Oof. Now, the yellow is fantastic. It is so good. I think. It's one coat. I mean, if you were to stick that on some Ianden Guardians, doesn't actually look as good on camera as it does in reality. If you were to stick that one coat of that on some Ianden Guardians or something like that, I think you'd be well away. Yeah, this guy's going to look really, really gaudy at the so I'm going to stick a load of colours on him that just don't belong. Right, okay, what have we got here? That was the flesh tone. Have we got any flesh in this guy? I think that was possibly flesh once. Yeah, let's assume that was flesh once. Because that's not disturbing at all. Back of his head, there we are. Again, in the flesh tone, if you're looking for a one coat solution and you're not intending to overpaint this and get fancy with it, the flesh tone's actually pretty good. We just bosh and it's done. That's actually, it looks a bit white on camera, a bit whiter than it does in reality, but that's actually pretty good. Like I say, because it reactivates, you don't particularly want to be getting too fancy with faces and building up highlights and shades and all that stuff like that. But as a one-shot deal, it's pretty good. The bone colour. This is really rather good. I used this on all of my Guardian? Not Guardian. Dire Avenger weapons and things before I went over this with a wash of secret concoction. I can't remember what I did use with this. It might have even been streaking grime. Yeah, I think that's streaking grime over the top. But again, that was I had to put on a layer of varnish down before using the streaking grime. But then you do that anyway. but it's especially important if you're using the speed paints. Right, okay, let's do what we actually came to do and put some paint on this miniature. So let's just dump that down, and instantly you've got manky bandages. That looks really cool right out of the pot. I think these paints are really quite good for a set purpose, and that set purpose is for a new painter laying down paint on a miniature to get that miniature onto a board and looking not fantastic, but okay. For a more advanced painter that's going to be start doing washes and highlights and things over the top like you do with contrast, probably not great. But as a beginner product, these are really quite good. I will find uses for these, I'm sure. Because if I recall, people were a little bit iffy about contrast paints, or they regarded them as cheating right out of the gate, before they found uses for them and worked them into their painting regimen as I did. Right, brown. This brown, as I remember, is a little bit odd. I mean, it's definitely a brown. It's kind of a warm, reddy brown. There are more paints in the range. These are just the 10 I got with the starter set, and they're not terrible. That brown's not terrible. Gets lost a bit next to the red, but yeah, we're all right. It's a brown. Got some pouches there. I can chuck that one as well. You notice I'm not being particularly careful because I don't have to be. I don't have to be. Well, looks all right. Bosh, done. That was the brown, wasn't it? I definitely used that. Yeah. Okay. Now the grey. The grey's all right. Straight out of the pot. And these paints mix really well, so you can desaturate any of the other colours you want with the grey without any kind of problem. And they also, because of how they behave and the way they reactivate, okay, that's pooling slightly, so you have to because they reactivate, they're actually quite good for blending, which I will... What did I put in there? What's that? Answers on a postcard. Is that purple? That's purple, isn't it? Right, okay, let's... we'll do a bit of blending. So we will go in with the purple around the base of the robe. That purple's not too bad. I would certainly use that. Nice rim of purple around the base of the robe. Looks really, really shiny when wet, but then most things look shiny when wet. So that's not a reason to hate it. And if we Going with a bit of blue just above that. I am never going to use these cultists. I have plans for my cultists. These miniatures will not be used. So going with a bit of blue above that. That's a nice, really vibrant, almost Talisar blue. That's yeah, that doesn't pull any punches. That is certainly blue. Good heavens. Right. Okay. Deliberately leaving a line between the blue and the purple, because we're going to come in and do a bit of blending in a second and see how that works out, because the purple layer is still kind of wet. Brush that off a little bit. Still want a little bit of blue pigment on there, and we're just going to... This may work, this may not work. We will find out. We will find out together. There we go. There we go. It's coming together rather nicely. So the blue paint and the water is reactivating the purple and creating a mid-tone. And blending really rather well. Contrast paints, of course, can do this, but you need to be a little bit faster about it. In this case, the blue and the purple are... The blue's wetter than the purple. The purple's not actually... It's definitely starting to dry, but the moisture in the blue is just reactivating it and enabling you to blend really rather well, actually. I'm going to touch more purple in those just to really sell it. There we are. Yeah, so we've got quite an okay gradient there. That'll look quite interesting when it's dry. Blend that in a bit. So that, apparently, is a thing that speed paints are good for. Right. Green. Again, I say this guy's going to look gaudy AF. Yeah, let's do his boots. And then we'll move on to some of the different colour undercoats and see how that works out. See, straight out of the bottle, that's just crazy. Crazy! Copyright strike. Crazy for lying, crazy for crying. Crazy for loving you. Yeah, it's just bonkers. Now I did. I experimented with that again on my Dire Avengers. The colour underneath what I ended up being Creed camo contrast paint is that stuff. And I think in combining the two, that's actually not come out too bad. I'm still going to pick out the details and things like that, but that's really quite striking. Quite like that. Again, with a layer of varnish between. Otherwise, it's all going to go mushy and wrong. Oh, right. There's a quick sip of tea, coffee, whatever this is. Coffee, I think. Right. Oh, so how are we doing? How's your hobby desking going? What are we going to do next? Which one? Which one do you want to do? Do you want this one? Or do you want this one? Let's see, yellow or necrotic flesh? Answers on a postcard, or preferably my chat channel. Come on, give me some feedback. Somebody tell me something. Which one next? Yellow. Right. First out of the gate, you get your questions answered. If you have any questions. If the question was, which one are you going to use next? There, I've answered it for you. Right. Oh God, he looks like an explosion in the clown factory. It really does. Ugh. Yeah, never going to use him. Or I'm going to spray him and go over him again. Right, so yellow. This is supposed to produce a different effect. I think this might actually be quite cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we're liking that. Ooh. Why do those notches tell you to use white? Now, I mean, it's long been known that yellow as an undercoat for red is just makes everything pop. I say long been known, ever since I started painting back in the early 90s, 1990s. Not 1890s, I'm not that old. Feel it some days. If you wanted your orcish red to look really, really bright, stick it over a yellow undercoat. I think. My Christ, that's a good colour. It really is. That's Admech for days. Yeah, liking that. Let's finish that hood off just to really sell it. Look at that. That's just amazing. So that's over demonic yellow. But I dare say other yellows are available and will work just as well. That's really good. I am liking that. And let's just side by side it with the one with the white, and you can see that the difference in tone. Well, I can anyway. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. What do you think? Any good? Which do you prefer? Answers on a postcard. Four people watching tonight. Four people. Four people are not watching Winters tear apart Games Workshop for the latest thing that Games Workshop's done. I don't know what Games Workshop's done. Maybe someone can watch this stream and tell me. Right. Have I gone straight to the grey? I've gone straight to the grey, haven't I? Let's work through these in order. So the orange over the red should look pretty cool. Over the yellow, sorry. And it does. Oh, I like that. I am really sold. Yep. That arm is certainly orange. Right, before I run out of this yellow undercoat to paint on top, I'm going to try out a few more colours so that we can see what they look like. But that orange is notably much better than that. So that's another win for the yellow undercoat, I think. Give it a bit of a wipe out. So flesh. Now this one had me interested because this shouldn't work. Have we got any flesh anywhere? We haven't really. We've got hands. Oh, do you know what? It's a different flesh tone, but it's definitely a flesh tone. kind of on the jaundice side, but I think that was always going to happen. That does not suck. I am okay with that. That's another win for yellow, I think. Or at least not a strikeout. Because, you know, that's still okay for flesh. If you're just doing one coat. Ooh, where are we? Bone. Bone, 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 bone. Now, this should look interesting. Right. Bone on the lower part of that guy's sleeve because I'm rapidly running out of yellow. That makes sense. Once more. That doesn't look too bad. I'd say we're losing the bone effect, but I can certainly think of things I would use that tone for. What do you reckon? Sort of yellowy cream. Let's get a bit more going on. Yeah, sort of sepia, isn't it? All right for a muckabout. Yeah, so that's definitely a pale yellow. It's all right. It's all right. I am surprised. Genuinely surprised. Brown. Where can we stick the brown? Oh no, good old-fashioned brown boots with wraps that I didn't notice before I put the paint on. Oh well. Once more, I won't be using these miniatures for anything other than the demo I'm doing now. They don't look terrible. Put that in there. Yeah. I can see me using that. They look all right. Definitely a different shade to the brown there. Do it side by side. I mean, that's definitely a different shade. But it doesn't suck. Really, it doesn't suck. Now, the interesting one is going to be the grey. Are we going to end up with some sort of weird gold colour? Possibly. Not so sure about this one. Yeah. Yeah, no. That just reads as bad. That doesn't read as gold or anything like that. Or grey. That just doesn't. That looks like. Say what that looks like, but it doesn't look good. I'll be doing that. Right, let's finish off so we can side by side. Not a fan of that. I think the white looks much more gun-like. See, now it's dry. That doesn't look too bad at all, that grey. the whole thing looks a bit janky and rushed, but then it was janky and rushed. So yeah, not a fan of the grey over that. That's not a thing I'm into. Okay, so now we're into the cool ranges, and this should be interesting because now we're going to go with the purple over yellow, which side by side should look pretty cool because of colour wheel reasons. And to me, that's reading more as black, which is interesting. Side by side it. That is kind of interesting. Alright, that's what that looks like over yellow. There's a thing. Some blue on there. That's actually not terrible. It's quite a nice colour. Kind of a turquoisey type deal. And the shading in the recesses comes out well. Looks okay. Yeah. Side by side again. This is clearly more sort of blue. This is more sort of turquoise. Yeah, liking that. Right. Green. This might work out as a more interesting sort of orc flesh. Let's try this on his face. It's not an orc face, obviously, so it's not going to look orky. Let's get some of this green over the yellow on his face and see how this comes out. This might be, yes, that is all day long 90s orc flesh. Yeah, there's your recipe for your orc flesh. For your 90s comedy orcs. Yep. Yellow undercoat, green speed paint on top. Oh, right, okay. So both of those miniatures look terrible, but they demonstrated the colours quite nicely, I think. So we're on to the green. This should be really interesting, especially from the flesh perspective, because I don't see how at all the flesh is going to come out looking like flesh. Oh well, let's see. Too much water there. Okay, onto the mantle. Now this is a necrotic flesh base, which is sort of like oh god. There's a Games Workshop colour that this is quite like. Can't remember what it's called. So it was pretty useless me saying that. But it's sort of like it, trust me. In fact, I'm going to find out what it's sort of like. Bear with me 1 sec, because I have it somewhere. It's one of the air rings that I've got. be helpful if I tidied up my paint drawers, you know. Deathworld Forest, there we are. That's what it's kind of like. Deathworld Forest. Right. So there's the red, looking alright. There's a side by side with the white. So there's some yellow notes coming through there, which is alright. Doesn't look terrible. There's that side by side with the, I think that's still a clear winner, isn't it, really, for the red, the yellow undercoat. I think if I start using these speed paints in proper anger, I could start mixing and matching with the undercoats and doing weird things. So that's the red. Let's get some yellow on there. Not yellow, orange. Okay, so that's all right. Definitely still orange. Bit more of a brown note to it there. I think the yellow undercoat's still winning there. The orange. It's, you know, it's not too far off actually. Not much to call between them. But then not much to call between them either, so. Yellow. Where should we put the yellow? Should we give some yellow trousers? No, let's not give them yellow trousers, that's a silly idea. As he was saying, his trousers could not be yellow. It's like massively disrespecting his individuality. He's saying it had to be uniform. Again, yellow coming out really. Did I use yellow on the yellow? I don't think I did I? Kind of a muppet, am I? Right, okay, yellow on yellow. Yeah, as one might expect, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that's alright. That's very cool, in fact. Yellow is looking like the clear favourite so far, but that is not too shabby. A bit more muted. More muted, but not terrible. Where are we now? Flush! Oh yeah, this is the interesting one. Right. Now, part of the problem here might be that this paints have been sat out for going on for an hour now, so they're curing differently. But you know what? Again, this looks better in person than it does on camera, unfortunately. But that is definitely a flesh tone and does not look bad. Again, for a quick once over to give you a miniature that is okay for the battlefield. These guys, these paints, not bad. This is, yeah, I'm not even remotely taking care at this point in time. Just putting paint on miniature and seeing what happens. And it does not look, it doesn't look good, but you know, at a distance, if I'd chosen different colours that actually looked sort of okay and not like an explosion in a paint factory, yeah, I think that'd be alright. There's enough contrast and difference in shade. I mean, the orange is still a bit ropey. I'm not convinced by that orange over that. The orange is okay over yellow. How you doing? How you doing? Middle of your work day. Wow. You caught me right in the middle of making a mess of these miniatures. But that's the point of this particular live stream, because of the new paints we're using. So to put them through their paces and see what they look like. And they're okay so far. Ish. Right. That bone colour. What can we paint bone? With the boots. You know what, that's not too bad. I could certainly see myself using that on some Imperial Guard or something. Even as an all over colour. That does not look terrible. Once again, does not look great. However, this is not the paint range for producing Golden Demon miniatures. Yeah, I think these take a bit more dressing up than normal, Dawn. But I mean, the paint range is pitched at beginners, I think, and getting minis on the table, and it'll do that. Right, brown. Yeah, these paints are starting to cure a bit, but so it should be a case of just sticking a bit of water in, and they should come to life again. Yep, they have. Right. Okay, brown. That's pretty nice. You can see that. That is a nice shade of brown. Just demonstrate that brown under that orange and see what happens. Yeah. Let's get a bit creative and see if we can create a bit more contrast. Dotting that over the eye sockets and things. Let's see if we can liven up that paint a bit. Reactivate it, create a bit more contrast. It's starting to look a bit better, isn't it? Yeah, alright, there are tricks you can do. There are tricks what you can do. See you, Dawn, nice to hear from you. Yeah, so you can use them as shades as well, that's quite cool. Throwing a bit of contrast. Yeah, and we're starting to look reasonable. especially from a distance. They look even better with your eyes closed. Let's dump a bit of that in there as well. No, we're getting fancy now. Back to testing out the colours. There's my tissue, there's my tissue. Grey. Let's get a bit of water in that. Grey. Yeah. I mean, It's not as bad as the yellow, but I'm still not a major fan. I think in terms of undercoats for certainly greys you want to come out as sort of metal, you're probably looking at white or a very light grey. Let's get a bit of chainmail under there, let's get that in grey as well. Got some grey on this back as well. That looks better on camera than it does in person. Yay! Right. What's next? Next will be purple. This should be interesting. Let's paint that armband purple. Okay, the purple seems fairly resilient and resistant to what's been painted underneath it. That's pretty much just purple. It looks alright. I mean, the one that's surprising me has been the flesh tone. That has been coming up alright each time. I am impressed with that. Yeah. Their flesh tone is good, ladies and gentlemen. The flesh tone is good. So that was the purple. We're okay with that. See what the blue looks like over the green. I mean, I wouldn't wear it. That would not bring out my eyes. Might make me want to gouge out my eyes, but... Let's side by side that with the original blue. Not too dissimilar, a little bit more muted, a little bit more sort of desaturated. It's alright. Doesn't look terrible. Let's side by side it with the turquoise of the yellow. It's alright. Still a fan of that, might use that. I might do something with that. I did not expect to be saying at this point that I'm thinking yellow undercoat is a good idea, but I am actually thinking yellow undercoat is a good idea for these paints. It just seems to lend an extra something to the tones. Right. So he's going to have one green leg because, you know, it's chaos everything. Just so I can see what the green looks like over the necrotic flesh. I think that's quite nice actually. Quite a nice shade of green. It's not too striking. Not as in your face. Yeah. Compare and contrast with the white there. And the white is just terrible. Yeah. Next to the yellow and green. Well, there's not much to choose between those actually. Either of those could be 90s orc flesh. Yeah. That's alright. And I think that's all the colours, isn't it? So let's do a quick side by side with all of them. Not my best paint jobs. Not even close. But, you know, I was demonstrating the colours and how they go on, and demonstrated a bit of blending there, and in fact it's really quite easy to do with the AP paints. They're alright. He looks terrible. I see what I do to fix him. That's what I'll do with the last half hour or whatever it is of the stream. Okay. His robes were purple and blue, aren't they? Ah, mixed a bit of green in there. Oh yeah, these mix really well as well. That's purple. So I'll get a bit of that on the edges of his robe. Like so, into those recesses. Wetter than it was. I mean, in some of these cases an extra coat of the paint will fix it, but I don't think there's anything going to be fixing those green boots. I think no, you'll be removing those, I think. Taking them off with a chainsaw. You don't want feet that green, you just don't. Blendy, blendy, blendy. Right, there we are. Blendy, 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 blend. Not my finest work. Never going to be my finest work. But it's a challenge to try and fix it. Grey out, and I can go on his whatever that is. Looks like a bit of gas mask or something. Shade going on those. So this is the grey, and I'm just using it to shade down, almost like a wash. And that's the grey over the green, just to knock down that colour a bit. But again, that's not really fixing it. it's reactivating it. It's turning into a sort of horrible slurry. Yeah, those green things are just going to be green, I think. So, toss some green up there just to tie that in. Right, what have we got here? What can we do there? I think we're going to deepen around the edge of that guy's hands. Get a bit more contrast in there. Along the bottom, just going to add some different colour, add a bit of shade to the bottom of the rifle, chuck a bit of water on there just to blend it in a bit. There we are, looking better. Okay, now we're going to go over. Oh, okay, what we're going to do with that? Well, I know what we're going to do. We're going to get some matte white. And we're just going to start again. Because that yellow did not come out as planned. This will be a good opportunity to see how much it actually does reactivate when you put regular paint over the top. And yeah, there you go. I mean, you can see that's taking up the yellow from underneath, which is not ideal at all. And that yellow was dry, so that's just seeping through. Matte white paint. Now the matte white paint from Army Painter is really good white, and it covers for days. And that's just soaking up the colour from underneath. See you, Jamie. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, and again, that's just reactivated it, and it's just disappointment. So that is something of which you need to be aware when using these paints, I think. Particularly the yellow. Let's get some more white on there. And I think what we'll do there is we will... Does the red come through there? Wait for that white to dry and we'll get some more orange on there, see if we can get a different shade out of it. Just white over the top there. And that bleed through, I think it might be quite useful there, because it will help blend in the highlight a little bit. Well, that's not too bad. Bring out that highlight there, highlight in there. Edge highlighting on the gun. So we get a bit of another bit of contrast. There we are. And that's actually starting to look a lot better, in fact. Spot highlighting, a bit of edge highlighting. This is just plain white. Yeah. That pops. That pops. We like that. Oh, it rubs off really well as well. Look at that. Ugh. Yeah, something else to be careful of. It just rubs off. Right, there's the orange paint. There's the orange paint. So that white has just dried. Back to a decent looking orange there. That's quite cool. Right, back to the shading. Back to my brown. There we are. Now, in theory, using this paint's properties, that should draw up the shade and create a nice blend. How is that orange? That should not be orange, that should be yellow. Well, it is what it is. Doesn't suck. I mean, there is a lot of this. I've painted and repainted this miniature a few times, and there's going to be a lot of lost detail there, but it doesn't look too bad. This is one of my test miniatures. I use for all sorts of punishment. Right. So I think what's happening is that yellow is starting to dry in the palette, so we're getting different properties out of it now. So that's something else that's interesting. Okay, so there are definitely things you could do. Let's get a bit of brown. Let's chuck that under there. See if we can get a bit of weathering out of this as well. We can. Look at that. Wow! Yeah! Yeah, baby. A rusty gun now. Okay, so there are tricks and tricks that you can do. You can create some interesting effects like this if you want to push the envelope a little bit more than is recommended with them, which is good. Right, let's get a bit more flesh down on there. Let's get a bit more brown in there just to sell the get a bit more shade. There we are. That looks a bit better. Brown, get the shade and coming through on this as well. And again, this will reactivate the red, so you'll end up with a reddy brown, which is what you want because you're shading, not recoloring. So I'm just picking out the recesses a little bit. Much better. Let's get another coat of that brown on the brown. Yeah, okay, second coat of brown really does darken it down to a nice deep mahogany colour. Really cool. A bit more brown on there, get some weathering going on. Yeah, that looks cool. I don't like his green boots. I really don't like his green boots. But you know what? I think he's got green boots now. It's just his thing. He is vibing with the green boot vibe. And he don't talk about the green boots. If anyone mentions green boots, he kills them. Because I think he's exactly that much of a psycho. I think that is supposed to be a skin mask. But that's a little bit of brown and a little bit of the orange. And that's darkened things down nicely and created a little bit more interest. Oh, missed a bit of flesh. There we go. And we've still got a bit of brown in there by the look of it. Just messing about at this point, I think. I think at this point we're desperately trying to rub polish on a turd. And it's not the fault of the paint. It's just trying to put too many colours on a miniature, it just looks wrong. So that happens as well if you throw it in the palette. Is that for a white puff? Yeah, look at that, it's just reactivated. Oh, it's coming straight off. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, see, that just reactivates. Look at that. Ugh. So yeah, that's Army Painter speed paints. I think they're useful. They're a useful tool. When you use them properly, they can be quite effective. Rather than just dumping as many colours as you can on the miniature. I mean, this guy didn't come out too bad. I've done other things to him. I've put washes and all sorts. In fact, let's do that. We've got a few minutes left, haven't we? Yeah. Let's get this guy. This guy came out okay. Let's get some more brown liquid and see what happens when I put a bit of that here and there. Gave you the recipe for this earlier on. It's all Games Workshop shades. So there's my brown liquid. And this is designed to go straight over everything. If you dab it on rather than wipe it on, I think you might get less of, well, you'll get the paint reactivating, but you won't get it wiping away as much. So yeah, that's not coming out too badly. It's, yeah, that's all right. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to use the reactivation properties to create some highlights, you could do that. Shall we try that? Let's get this everywhere anyway, and it's just show you what it looks like. With a wash over it. I don't think it looks too bad. But for the colours, and the colours are terrible. No self-respecting cultist would dress this way. This says a lot about the wash rather than the paints, but yeah. How are we doing now there? Still painting away? Mick? Still working on your Stormcast? 3,000 points of Stormcast in one hit, you absolute nutter. And then he went and bought some orcs, I think. Because, you know, 3,000 points of Stormcast isn't enough of a painting project for this monster. I think he's got most of them painted now as well. Absolute beast. Not going to win any golden demons again, but in terms of getting your 3 colours on there and splashing them out, like Dawn said, they're all right. They're all right. Oh yeah, we're going to have a quick look at the highlighting potential of the reactivation properties, won't we? Let's do that. Reactivate it with a bit of the ink wash. Like a Q-tip or something. That'll do. No, that'll just peel straight away. Straight down to the plastic, that's no good. Let's try something like that instead. That's going to have a bit of a softer touch. Well, that's got slightly better properties. That there has potential. That there might make that a workable, usable property. The fact that you can reactivate the paint dab it away with the Q-tips that you've the makeup applicators that you've all got because you've been watching my grimdark tutorials involving oils, and just dab that to get the speed paint off but leave the base coat in place, and you get a bit more highlight going on there. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's an extra level of contrast, and it doesn't look terrible. Cool. Well, I think I'm going to call it there. I think I've pushed them as far as I want to with these miniatures, because these miniatures just, they hurt my eyes. They're just, no. Oh god, no, I'm going to have to set fire to these. No, there's going to be fire. No. Anyway, right, yes, that's me for the night, I think. Thank you all for dropping by. It's not many of us tonight, but, you know, I'm okay with that. Feel free to join the Discord. The link there is on the screen. If you're not already members, all the other details are in the description for the video. If you want to like and subscribe and comment and all those good stuff, it helps the channel grow and enthuses me no end. But for now, wonderful ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for dropping by, and good